Tonight's big stories. It's not just non-consolidated jeepney drivers that are facing challenges with the PUV modernization. Even those who are now part of cooperatives are supposedly pressured to earn up to 7,000 pesos a day just to pay off their loans.
The Senate berated the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or the NGCP, during its hearing regarding the 4-day blackout in Panay last week. Some senators have since reiterated their call to revoke the NGCP's franchise.
And charter change seems to be gaining ground with petitions being handed out. And just yesterday, a paid advertisement to highlight the benefits of Chacha made it to the primetime airwaves.
Welcome to the big story. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Danny Laurel.
And I'm Sean Yao. All right, ang daming big stories tonight. So let's start off with this, 7,000 pesos. That's how much one jeepney driver in a cooperative has to make per day to just pay off their loans while also provide for their family and allot enough funds for fuel. Here's how One Rider Party List representative Bosita came up with that figure.
Based on the land bank computation, ang monthly na dapat na ma-raise ng kooperatiba per unit is more than 40,000 pesos or 1,800 or more. Hindi pa po kasama dyan yung fuel, facilities, cooperative management, maintenance, and other mandatory expenses. So pag kinumpute po natin yan, Mr. Chair, meron pong target per unit na more or less 4,000 to 5,000 pesos per day. Wala pa po diyan yung dapat kikitain ng driver. More or less 1,500 to 2,000 pesos per day ang dapat nilang kitain. So approximately, Mr. Chair, a total of 7,000 pesos per day.
Bosita based his computation on the 2.8 million peso cost for one unit of an imported modern jeepney. House lawmakers questioned this very computation in today's hearing on the PUV modernization program. Let's take a listen.
Accurate po ba yung computation ni Honorable Bosita?
We beg to and we respectfully differ with the computation of the Honorable Congressman Bosita based on certain premises po.
So, hindi accurate?
I would not say it is accurate on the premise na pag ang cost ng vehicle is 1.8
Sagutin mo
million.
yes or no lang yung kwang ko. Kasi nagdidepensa ka kaagad eh.
It is,
Yes or no? Accurate ba yun?
we wish to qualify, I think, on a certain degree, no, Your Honor.
Yung computation po ni Congressman Bosita is only accurate on the basis that the unit is procured at 2.8 million pesos per unit. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
To date, up to 76% of jeepney drivers have already consolidated under the PUV modernization program. But Bulacan Representative Tina Pancho argued that many of them only felt forced to do so out of fear of losing their livelihood. No less than 38,000 jeepney drivers are in danger of losing their franchises by the end of this month, with the LTFRB only allowing operations of non-consolidated jeepneys until January 31st. And one of the reasons why some drivers are refusing to consolidate is because of the hefty cost of buying a modernized unit. On top of that, these units will only be registered under the cooperatives or corporations and not under their names.
Remember when we had LTFRB spokesperson Celine Pialago over on this show? She was saying na ito muna yung first step na consolidation. Parang wala silang gagawin, magbibigay ng affidavit, get into a cooperative. But we didn't really know what would come after that. These cooperatives are supposedly there to help the jeepney drivers take a loan from the bank and also pay the loans.
But the thing that they don't like, and this is of course something that Celine Pialago did not discuss with us, our spokesperson Celine did not discuss with us, is that hindi masaya yung mga jeepney driver. No? Sa panig naman nila, they want the franchises to be in their names. Siyempre, pag nag-consolidate na sila, the franchises will be with the cooperatives or the corporations, and they're not very happy about that. But definitely also the other thing they're not happy about, yun nga, ang mahal ng bagong unit. And they're scared of the loans.
Tapos may issue pa daw of carnapping, but not the carnapping that we think, wherein the car gets stolen, but actually wherein there's a claimant on the jeepneys that theoretically was used to be yours, pero ngayon dahil nasa kooperatiba na daw, iba nakapangalan na daw siya sa ibang tao. So there's a specific case, itong taga Bacolod, the name was Philip Buarata. Hindi daw napigilang maging emotional because daw dalawang unit niya, after he consolidated with the cooperative, kinuha daw sa kanya dahil hindi daw sa kanya nakapangalan. So they're still looking at the reasons for
There
that
could
and how that
also
happened.
be the possibility that the loans are not yet fully paid. So that's why the titles have not yet
It's
been
not
transferred. We need to
theirs.
we need to get more details and more clarity on that regarding ownership. Pero nakikita mo ngayon pala dinidiscuss business.
Pero ito, before
models.
you continue, no, Gretch, I think we do have a soundbite of Philip Boraata. So pakinggan natin yung sinabi niya kanina sa hearing.
Kasi naghihirap kami dito. Gumastos kami. Dahil naipit kami sa programang ito. Paano na nilahanap buhay namin? Yung mga anak ko nag-aaral. Na itong programa na ito, hindi na nabigyan ng kakulang pag-study. Walang proteksyon sa amin. Mag-consolidate man kami sa korporasyon. Darating panahon, ito rin yung mangyayari sa iba kasi pwede angkinin ninuman ng any corporation.
Ito nga yung kalbaryo ng ating mga jeepney drivers, getting clarity on business ownership, unit ownership, the financial details. And nasabi ng LTFRB, hindi daw nila alam na may nangyayaring ganitong issue. Nangako naman si Guadis na imbestigahan yung issue na ito, connected ito sa main reasons kung bakit maraming ayaw mag-consolidate. Some are very hesitant with joining cooperatives because of losing control over their business na nakasanayan na nila na sila may mando dun sa kanilang jeep.
Kung parang entrepreneur ka kasi kung may sarili kang jeep, may sarili kang unit, meron kang prangkisa.
Pero yung
Ngayon,
yung
napilitan ka na
7,000, just imagine, ganun kasi, I've been speaking with Grab drivers the past month. Sinasabi
Mga
nila,
boundary per day.
ang average na is mga 5,000. Pag sinipag ka, pwede ka mag 6,000, 7,000. Pag kayo sakto lang katamtaman, 3 to 5. Imagine that's with fares of like 300, 400, 500 pesos. And jeepney drivers ngayon, nasan ba? 15 pesos for the
14,
modern
15
jeepneys.
pesos, yeah.
So how many rides, how many passengers would they need? in
Kulang
one
ang 24 hours in a day. No? Bago ka
bottom
makakalap ng
line.
7,000 pesos.
Clarify, no, that was again just for the 2.8
Million.
million
Yan,
won,
yan.
and so that's the highest possible. But again,
Pag ginawa
sinabi
natin
nila,
mga
kailangan daw
Merong
nila ng
950,000
1.5.
di ba?
They need
Yung
1.5
local.
to survive per day, di ba? So 7,000 minus 1.5, 5.5 yung cost every day nang babayaran mo. Parang ang ano naman nun, di ba? 1.5
That's if
na lang
they
matitira.
avail of the
Yes,
2.8
of the
million
pinaka-nicest.
units.
Ano. There are, of course, I think, at least 30 options to choose from, di ba?
At
To buy
syempre kung
from.
tumataas no, yung boundary or yung daily na kailangan kitain ng mga driver natin, for sure, tataas din yung fares.
And
So,
the
ayaw natin
number
magyari.
of accidents on the road, right? Hopefully not.
Hopefully. Okay, so basically, yun naman ang napag-usapan kanina no, sa House of Representatives. Una, na masyadong mahal yung unit sa paulit-ulit ng
Ano
sinasabi
na nga.
sa atin. Number two, yun nga, yung fear na hindi nakapangalan sa driver ko, hindi sa kooperatiba, yung mga prangkisa. So, magiging vulnerable or feeling ng mga drivers ay magiging vulnerable sila dyan.
What are the possible solutions tackled by House lawmakers to address the concerns of non-consolidated jeepney drivers? Let's ask that question to Marian Enriquez. Marian, do you have the answer?
Rich, during the hearing, representatives of local modern jeepney manufacturer Francisco Motors Corporation raised a suggestion to address this. They say jeepney drivers should be given the option to borrow directly from manufacturers instead of forcing them to join cooperatives or corporations. Currently, Francisco Motors and Sarao are offering modern units at around 985,000 pesos each, way lower than the over 2 million peso price tag for imported ones.
Kung ibababa natin yung presyo sa 985,000, baka hindi na kailangan umutang ng mga operator natin sa mga bangko dahil pwede naman sila maghulugan sa amin ng diretso. Wala pang interest. Saka nakakita ng binili mong kotse na 50,000 yung down payment.
Elmer Francisco, owner of Francisco Motors, says this move will also solve issues on whose name the unit's title will fall under. The suggestion was supported by Bulacan Representative Tina Pancho.
Yung po ang nilalaban nila, okay silang magbayad pero nasa pangalan nila, pag-aari po nila. Na maganda po yung suggestion po ni Mr. Francisco na bakit hindi direkta sa kanila magbayad ng utang? Ba't kailangan po, hindi nga po natin minamalit ang kooperatiba o nag-iisip tayo na hindi maganda sa kooperatiba, pero bilang mga Pilipino, sanay tayo ng balikwasan diba? Nagbayad ako sa'yo, bayad ako sa'yo, akin yung bili ko. Hindi yung dadaan pa kung saan-saan pong proseso, mas malinis ang transaction po.
We will take the comment in our further meetings to recalibrate probably the stand of the department.
Hindi naman maiwasang mag-init ang ulo ni House Committee on Transportation Chairman Romeo Aco, noting that it's been 6 years since the PUV modernization program was implemented, and it's still facing a lot of hurdles.
You should look after the welfare of the drivers. What you're telling me is you're not looking after the welfare of the drivers. Your action today would show that this program is a headless chicken. Wala And it shows na wala talagang nagkukompas dito sa programang ito. Kasi lahat ng tanong tungkol sa modernization program, iba-iba ang sumasagot Di ba? And it shows na nobody is in control of this program. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit sentrong-sentro yung consolidation sa inyo
ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro also pointed out in the hearing that halting the operations of non-consolidated jeepneys on January 31 will affect some 500,000 family members of the drivers. Gretch?
All right, thanks for that, Marian Enriquez.
The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or the NGCP, was grilled earlier today by the Senate following the recent power outages on Panay Island this month. Paulit-ulit na lang ang problema. That was the complaint raised by the senators during the hearing of the Senate Committee on Energy regarding the widespread brownouts on Panay Island from January 2 to 5th. The island previously experienced similar widespread power outages in April of 2023. Also present in that hearing was Iloilo City Mayor Jerry Triañas, who lamented that their economy suffered a loss of around 2 billion pesos due to the impact of businesses being affected by the brownouts.
We do not deserve this. No one deserves this. And I ask anyone who is present here, are you willing to have a 4-day blackout brownout? Because I will give you a medal.
Same problem, same people, quite possibly same issues. Hiyang-hiya po ako sa mga tao ng Panay Island na naapektuhan ng blackout kasi nangyari na ito sa kanila noon.
Well, the tone of the conversation in that hearing quite expected, as nearly 300 public schools in Panay Island alone have reportedly suspended their face-to-face classes. And not just that, business establishments have suffered huge losses due to damaged goods and non-operational
In
equipment.
the billions
We
daw.
finally
More than
have
2
the
billion.
figure now. Total of 2 billion pesos in just 4 days.
Naku.
Ayan na nga.
And of course, yun nga sinasabi nila, yung quality of life and productivity. And to be honest, I think parang medyo nasa basic human right level na yun. Na dapat may access ka sa kuryente. I mean, it is
Wi-Fi na
2024.
nga is basic
Bukod
human
sa,
right.
bukod sa sinalubong mo yung bagong taon ng walang power.
Diba?
Is that still a thing?
So I believe we do have a story from last January na kitang-kita natin, no? Yung mga residente ng Iloilo, nakikicharge ang kanilang mga phone, natutulog sa park. We do have a soundbite that we prepared of that. Let's play it.
Total blackout kasi ma'am eh. Doon sila sa akin nagpa-charge. Libre po yung wifi para at least makontak nila yung mga kamag-anak nila na nasa iba, sa ibang barangay na kung ano nangyayari para hindi rin mahirap sa kanila na mag-load pa.
Now, how exactly did this whole power issue in Panay start again? Now, this was apparently one of the discussions during the Senate hearing. Let's get more details on that from Mayan Los Baños. Mayan, go ahead.
Gretchen, that's right. During the Senate hearing, it was revealed that the power issue in Panay started when there was a malfunction at one power plant, Panay Energy Development Corporation or PEDC, around noon on January 2. After 2 hours, 6 other power plants also encountered issues referred to as trip-offs. It was only on January 5 that the complete power supply was restored to Panay Island. The NGCP is now being blamed as it seems they did not take any action when the PEDC power plant encountered problems. However, the agency says that based on their assessment, the electricity was stable during those hours. This, however, seemingly angered Senator Tulfo even further.
You're hearing me but you're not listening. Meron na nga yung line, yung unit 3 na gumagawa ng scheduled maintenance, okay? As it is, lumpo na nga. O doon pa lang may serious problem na you could have done something.
Since stable pa nga po yung grid, wala po tayong overloaded na line, walang tripping ng lines. Normal po. So, we did the normal dispatch.
Normal lang daw at stable. Ewan ko kung stable pa rin pag-iisip ninyo. Hindi nga. Totoo, seryoso ako. Kasi dapat natataranta na kayo. Kita nyo kanina, galit na galit yung mayor ng Iloilo, si Mayor Treñas, yung mga governor. Napakadali sa inyo magsalita. Kasi hindi kayo apektado eh. Wala kayo dun sa Iloilo.
Gretchen, the Energy Regulatory Commission believes that the NGCP misinterpreted the issues with the power plants. However, according to Senator Tulfo, the NGCP's franchise should be revoked now as more areas might be affected by brownouts. For their part, the NGCP is willing to have their franchise reviewed. Gretchen?
All right, thanks for those soundbites from the hearing. Mayan Los Baños, our Senate reporter. Up next, petitions and a TV commercial promoting charter change are now making rounds, but the House leadership remains mum on the matter. We'll discuss that and more when the big story returns. Keep it here.
watching The Big Story here on One News.
Wednesday pa lang, pero talaga namang buhay na buhay ang usapin ng charter change. Dahil kahapon, Nazareno, may mukhang may commercial na sumabay doon sa ganap na yon. Itong bagong commercial, kasama ng mga advocates ito. A paid advertisement highlighting the supposed failures of the 1987 Constitution was aired last night on primetime. Viewers tuning in to the evening newscast were surprised to see the ad, especially since we have yet to get some clarity on whether the push for charter change has really started.
Davao City Congressman Paulo Duterte has also spoken up about this issue. He said there are reports that PBA party list representative Migs Nograles has been spearheading the People's Initiative in Davao City. We are still trying to get Congresswoman Nograles' side on this, but back to Congressman Pulong Duterte, he did say that he is against the People's Initiative because it does not represent the people's voice, but rather the few who want to perpetuate themselves in power. He also urged his fellow Davaoeños to not to, quote, sell their soul for 100 or even 10,000 pesos. That is, of course, in exchange for their signatures.
And one other issue flagged by Congressman Edsel Lagman is the higher budget for the COMELEC for its mandate in supervising elections, referenda, recall votes, and plebiscites. Lagman pointed out that from 2.2 billion pesos last year, the poll body's budget for this function has gone up to over 14 billion pesos this 2024. COMELEC said it has requested for a budget increase on the matter.
Nakita nga natin yung TV commercial that
Grabe
aired
yung
yesterday.
commercial.
It's been going around, being viral online. At ang headline niya, naed sa puwera tayo.
Yun yung parang keyword niya, ilang beses inulit yung naed sa puwera tayo, naed sa puwera tayo. Ayan, we're rolling some clips of the ad in case you have not seen it on social media.
So highlighting it's a Cory Constitution, CC, diba?
Actually, hindi naman sinabi yon sa sa ad na yon. Pero we do know that was crafted after the People Power Revolution. At sabi nga ni Representative Edsel Lagman, he considers this as a part of the continuous demonization of the Cory Constitution.
And of course, itong si Congressman Lagman, we just spoke to him nung Monday about this. He was the first to speak out about what was going on in Albay. Na may meeting nga dito sa Ellis Hotel with former congressmen and mayors. Now, of course, to be fair, Congressman Lagman is the president of the Liberal Party. So he has to we kind of can predict what he's going to say about the matter since it is against the 1987 Constitution. And yun nga, the tagline, syempre, it's a puwera.
But he did mention naman that this petition that's going around is not necessarily what Speaker Martin Romualdez was saying in December, that he wanted to do things for economic purposes, diba, for the Chacha. He said that yung umiikot daw is really just a petition for the joint voting of the Congress and Senate. So nothing to do with the other, like the term limits. Hindi
So
pa
just to
naman daw yun.
backtrack a little bit, that's because the Constitution does not provide instructions, detailed or otherwise, kung paano ba magaganap yung voting. So, part yun nung gusto nilang baguhin is ganito nating pagbobotohan. Yun yung kinakatakutan pag sinasabing malulunod yung boses ng Senado dahil 24 lang sila versus 316 congressmen. Yun po yun, So, yun yung isang part ng change is how they will vote for the succeeding changes.
Well,
So, unahin nila yun.
there are three ways to change the Constitution. One is Constitutional Convention, the second is Constitutional Assembly, and the third is a People's Initiative. Sa CONCON, magkakaroon ng representative per district, mag-vote pa sila. Sa Constitutional Assembly, yung mga representatives natin in the House, the Congressmen and the Senate, yun na yung
sila yung
so, 315 plus 24.
At yung People's Initiative naman, yung taong bayan. So sinasabi nila dito, step by step nila. First part is, let's resolve muna. How will the House of Representatives vote? Will they vote as one body or will they vote as separate? Pero yun nga, if you think about it, yung ano lang naman dito ay, yung petition dito that's going around is to have it have the House of Representatives vote as one body.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
that-
both houses
So
voting
yung muna,
as
yung
one.
muna.
Oo.
And then, the next step is a referendum. If they're able
Actually,
to
it's
get
a
the numbers.
plebiscite. Let's clarify na magkaiba yung referendum sa plebisito. Sa plebiscite, actually, for me, mas nakakatakot siya kasi, Gretcha, plebiscite, no, you are going to vote for the amendments directly.
Okay.
Meaning, it's a yes or no, di ba?
And then joint one vote yung
Yes.
Congress and Senate.
Hindi.
Yeah, I mean,
Plebiscite
the
will be
Majority wins. Oo. Doon,
okay,
majority
after
wins
na.
Yes.
Okay.
Tao na, tayo mismo.
Okay,
Mag-yes
okay.
or no tayo, diretso na yon. So, let's say, may 5 amendments.
What's the difference with referendum? Just to be ano?
The referendum kasi, no?
Di ba ganun din yun? Yes or no?
Yes, it's a vote to do a vote. So, parang mas diretso kasi yung
I was
yung
actually
plebiscite
asking
versus
that question a while ago. Anong pagkakaiba ng referendum at plebisito? At sabi ng ating correspondent na si Ed Lingaw, sabi niya, usually na-interchange yung dalawa.
Usually.
Pero dati
dapat
magkaiba.
hindi.
Dati
Oo,
magkaiba
okay.
nga
Dapat
yung
hindi.
definition
Well,
niya.
that's something we can
Pero
ask
part 2
our
pa yun eh. Wala pa
lawmakers.
tayo.
Wala
We
pa
have
tayo
to
doon.
move
Ito
past
yung
the People's
sila muna.
Initiative getting 12% of the voting population and 3% per legislative district.
Okay, but of course, all this begs the question on whether other localities have already started soliciting signatures, not just in Albay or in Davao. Marian Enriquez is back for some more updates on that. Go ahead, Maan.
That's right, Sean. It's not just in Albay. We were able to get in touch with a resident in Barangay Piñahan in Quezon City, and this person confirmed that there were petitions being handed around in relation to charter change. For security reasons, we will be referring to her as Anna. Just this weekend, Anna said ayuda will be distributed for solo parents in the area. Being a beneficiary herself, she decided to go.
Tinanong ko kung ano yun. Sabi niya, ano daw, ayuda daw.
Anong ayuda? Anong klase daw po ng ayuda?
Ano, pera. Ganon.
Magkano raw?
Pagkakaalam ko, 3,000 eh.
Anna said they were not given a chance to read what was in the papers they were asked to sign. She only found out later on what it meant when we explained the matter.
Voting separately or jointly yung Kamara at Senado para amyendahan yung saligang batas.
Petition pala? As petition? Ay, kinilabutan ako. Hindi ko alam. Ang tanga ko. Siyempre, hindi ko binasa, di ba? Basta lang ako pirma ng pirma. Hindi ko naman binasa. Para saan? Kasi pag sinabi naman kasi nilang ayuda is, sige.
The form that Anna signed is similar to the petition that's allegedly being distributed in Albay. Chacha proponents there, however, have denied paying off constituents for their signatures, contrary to claims made by Albay Congressman Ed Salagman. Sean, we're still waiting for comments from the House leadership regarding these petitions that are going around. For now, it remains unclear if these efforts have Congress's blessing. All we know for sure is that after Speaker Romualdez's remarks on studying charter change last year, here we are, and it seems the ball is rolling. Back to you.
All right, definitely a lot to watch out for. Thanks for that update, Maan Enriquez.
Regarding that report, the DOLE and the DOH have clarified and issued a statement that support for Chacha is not among conditions to qualify for aid. So malinaw yan. Hindi yan kwalifikasyon para makakuha ng ayuda. Kasi yun yung kinatatakutan ng iba eh. Baka matanggal sila sa listahan.
Kasi yung the way they distribute aid, no, is through the local lawmaker, local officials. Kunyari, yung tupad ng DOLE, di ba? Papadaan nila yan dun sa either sa congressman, bibigyan nila ng konti yung congressman, yung mayor, magbibigay din sila ng ilang vouchers. So, actually, okay, I'm gonna say it, nagagamit din siya na pampalakas sa botante. Kasi you're also giving aid, but kung ikaw yung nagbibigay, syempre they're gonna associate.
Napaka-personal ng relationships on the ground. That's why, yun nga, parang may konting fear among the people that if they don't sign this, allegedly, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly that they will lose aid. So yun nga nakita natin sa report ni Marian Enriquez. But balikan natin kanina, no, yung TVC that's been going around. I actually took some notes on it. It focused on 3 things: agriculture, education, and economy.
The foreign ownership.
What's interesting is, sinasabi dito, natigil ang asenso natin, tapos may placard nakalagay, global investors not allowed. So ito nga sinasabi natin, yung economic provisions.
They want global investors to be allowed.
Yun.
Kumbaga.
That's the economic provision
at
that
sinasabi na
they
karoon
want to
ng
change.
monopolya instead of land ownership ng foreign investors. So they want more foreigners
Which has
foreigners to come
actually
here.
already been revisited, di ba? With
It has been.
PPPM,
And
with the
it's-
foreign
even with
limits and ownership.
actually with President Duterte, they have already liberalized certain foreign ownership restrictions in retail, et cetera, Public Services Act.
Energy.
In fact, we have discussed this previously with some of our guests. Long story short, no, hindi naman kailangan mag-chacha para luwagan yung economic provisions.
Tama.
Yun ang mga sinasabi nila.
Kaya
And in
naman.
fact, it's evidence na nagawa na nga nila.
Pero may bago dito. Sabi rin, yung pagpasok ng edukasyon na dekalidad, na EDSA puwera din.
Oo nga, that's a
Ano
very
ibig
specific,
sabihin nun?
They
di ba?
want to
Ano
open
daw?
up the education sector to foreign investors. A
Talaga
lot
ba?
of people believe, yes, that that might be the key to improving our education. Now, I'm just parroting, okay, what I've read and what I've
ba
heard.
yung education sector to foreign investors? Parang hindi
Yes.
naman. Talaga ba?
Parang there's a certain level of ownership. I'm
Well,
not
for
sure.
all the
I'm not sure about
corporations,
that.
there's
Pero
a-
may
there's a
restrictions.
statute,
May restrictions
Sa
talaga.
education. I'm not sure if not totally allowed or
Kasi hindi
may
man regulated
restrictions sa
sector.
ownership.
Oo.
We have to study that. The last thing is ang mga magsasaka na EDSA puwera because of hoarders.
Land reform.
Hoarders. Those who have been smuggling goods and those who have been hoarding agricultural products. So yun ang tatlong sectors, agriculture, education, and
Yan yung
Baka because of the
pinupunti rin ng commercial.
Agrarian reform law, di ba?
Yes,
That
agricultural reform.
reversed the Marcos
very, very
situation of
interesting how they're
agrarian reform.
communicating this.
They are, no? Basically, some points that are being made is, as we know, 1987 pa yun, 37 years na raw, na hindi nagagalaw itong constitution natin. So, dapat daw hindi tayo magulat, no? Nasusubukan ng baguhin or i-amend ulit.
I think takot lang naman yung mga tao dun sa term limits, eh, 'di ba? Most of the economic provisions naman, like you mentioned, pinag-aano naman yun all the time. It's
Or
really
this kasi
the
na-bring
term
up,
limit.
this time around, no,
is
na-bring up
taboo.
yung term limits.
Oo.
Dati kasi pag-uusapan mo yung Chacha, yun nga, amend na lang. Once we hear Chacha, we're always so allergic as a people, and I think it's because of political dynasties.
Correct.
Pero yung nakakagulat ngayon is exactly what we're talking about. Ano ang gustong amyendahan at kung paano nila ito gagawin, which is, sabi na nga, di ba, ni Dong Gonzales, Congressman Dong Gonzales before Christmas, gusto nila i-bypass yung Senate kasi never papayag yung Senate. Just flat
Tama.
out saying
Yeah.
that was a bit
It's
shocking to me,
interesting.
right?
And that's why it's not surprising that people are touting that it's the Congress behind this, because it seems to be that yun naman yung pinaglalaban or
Well,
pinapanghihan
syempre may
ng
questions din over who
signatures.
paid for the ad because yung primetime spots are not cheap. So, meron tayong reports saying that Pirma, a group that sought to amend the 1987 Constitution during Ramos's time through a people's initiative, was behind this. Represented by Gana Atienza Avisado Law Office. Lawyer Alex Avisado actually spoke up on this. At sinasabi niya, the purpose of the ad was to bring into public discussion the topic of charter change. At kung handa na nga ba, napapanahon na ba ito? At tinignan nga natin yung list of clients ng law office. There were several congressmen
That have
there.
been-
Oo,
okay.
babasahin ko for everyone. Nasa website ito, si Honorable Senator pala, Panfilo Lacson, Teofisto Gingona, Senator, Congresswoman Lucy Torres Gomez, Mayor Edward Hagedorn, Mayor Alfred Romualdez, Mayor Robert Fernandez, and Mayor Albert Balindong. This has been going viral as well online. So, syempre may mga haka-haka yung mga tao. Nandyan yung pinsan nung speaker. So, there's also that.
Goma
syempre,
has also been vocal that he
yun
is
din,
for
may
charter
kasama
change.
na yun. That's why, yun nga, parang yung mga tao iniisip, is there something more behind this? Apart from economic provisions, the political aspect to it.
Well, every time sabihin yung charter change, hindi malayo, no, yung haka-haka na may iba silang gustong palitan, hindi lang yung
Ayun.
sinasabi nila. And this time around, I think mas warranted because we've actually heard yung suggestions on term limits, extending the term, double terms, allow na raw.
Yung
So, who
interesting,
knows?
no, parang nawala na yung federalismo na dating tinatawag ng
Oo
previous
nga naman.
administration. Parang hindi na yun yung main issue ngayon, di ba? Which used to be also something to consider dapat for in terms of the structure of government.
Why do I have a feeling that this is going to be a long one?
It's going to be a long one. We haven't even heard or gotten any clarity from Congress yet. So I think we have to wait for that one next. But for now, we're going to pause for a quick break. Right after that, during his meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, the DFA said that President Marcos expressed hope that clemency will be granted by the Indonesian government to Filipino death row prisoner Mary Jane Veloso. The details on that when the big story returns. Keep it here. Welcome back. This is still the big story here on One News.
Now, earlier today, President Bongbong Marcos welcomed Indonesian President Joko Widodo at Malacanang Palace, where the two held a bilateral meeting. Now, among the topics discussed by the two leaders was the tension in the West Philippine Sea. Marcos and Widodo emphasized the importance of all nations recognizing the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or the UN clause. Widodo, meanwhile, also took the opportunity to seek the support of Marcos in the Philippines' purchase of anti-submarine warfare aircraft from Indonesia. While not much details were given about this, recall that last October, the Armed Forces of the Philippines announced that they would deploy anti-submarine helicopters in the West Philippine Sea to detect any illegal entry of submarines into our territory. Now, along with this, Marcos and Widodo also agreed to strengthen the border security between the two countries. But according to the Indonesian president, the border crossing agreement and border patrol agreement must be properly addressed.
In the field of politics and security, we have agreed to strengthen border cooperation, and I've conveyed the importance of accelerating the revisions of the border patrol agreement and border crossing agreement, the settlement of continental shelf boundaries, and the strengthening of defense cooperation, including defense equipment.
And that one topic a lot we're looking out for between the talks of President Marcos and President Widodo is, of course, the case of Filipina OFW Mary Jane Veloso. Let's try to get more details on whether this was actually discussed by the two top officials. We have Mon Gualvez on standby. Mon! Mary Jane.
Sean, that's right. We got to speak to the Veloso family, specifically to the son of Mary Jane, in which he is hoping that through President Marcos Jr., President Widodo will grant clemency to the Filipino OFW.
Sana po, Pangulong Widodo, Pangulong Bongbong Marcos po, sana po mapagbigyan nyo na po yung clemency na hinihingi po namin. Regalo nyo na lang po kay mama ngayong birthday po niya.
Veloso has been incarcerated on death row in Indonesia for drug trafficking. Last December, her family got to visit Mary Jane and occasionally they would have video calls. But for Mark Daniel, this is not enough.
Ay, hirap pong lumaki ng walang magulang po. Tapos yung nanay ko po doon na parang napanghinaan na rin po siya ng loob na makakauwi pa po ba siya.
Earlier this morning, Veloso's family went to Mendiola near Malacanang. They carried with them the letters of appeal for President Marcos and President Widodo. Mary Jane's parents insists this is an opportunity for Marcos Jr. to address the case of their daughter. However, the two leaders reportedly was not able to discuss the matter on Mary Jane.
Sean, come next month, there is a scheduled election in Indonesia in which it is said that Joko Widodo will not be running. This development is believed to have significant implications on Mary Jane's case once a new administration take office. The Migrante International actually has since called for immediate action on the Veloso family's appeal before Widodo steps down. In addition to clemency, the group is also wanting to have the Marcos administration to focus on the case filed by Mary Jane's camp against the illegal recruiters in Nueva Ecija. Sean?
Thank you so much for that, Mon Gualvez. Magkaka-happy ending kaya no, para kay Mary Jane Veloso at yung family.
hopefully.
Ang laki na nung anak niya, sobra kong shocked.
Yeah.
Nung nakita ko, dati ang liit-liit pa niya. And man,
Well,
I don't know.
I guess in Indonesia nga, they're kind of changing their tone all the time, diba? There was death penalty during that time she was arrested. And then tinanggal naman nila. Binalik ni Joko Widodo. So everyone, I guess their family's hoping na kung mag-iba na nga and he's not gonna run for the next
Actually, she was supposed to be executed and they managed to, I remember,
Save her
being,
the day before.
here at
Yeah.
work in the newsroom na may last-minute
Biglang,
stay.
oo.
Magkakaroon ba ng last
I
minute?
believe Pinoy administration.
When it
Yes.
happened,
Oo,
yes.
oo.
Yeah.
When it happened.
When they
Hindi
convinced na
nangyari,
hindi
oo.
na matuloy yung
Kasi may
execution
bagong
niya.
evidence.
Oo.
And then no matter how many
And then tinanggal.
diplomatic meetings they've had with Jokowi, he just has not agreed to
But
we
unless,
continue to grant her clemency.
unless they change the policy where tatanggalin na naman nila the death penalty, diba? So,
But apart from
hopefully,
that, I was
first-
actually wanting to hear more about what transpired between the meeting between Jokowi and PBBM. Kasi, sa ASEAN, sila yung pinaka-pareho sa atin na setup. Corruption is there. They're an archipelago with even more islands. And I feel like they're able to kind of overtake us in some economic aspects and policy aspects. And yun yung gusto ko actually abangan, apart from a happy ending for Mary Jane Veloso.
Well, the reason why I think this is important also is because of the changing geopolitics that's happening around the world. Hopefully,
And WPS also.
there would be incentive for the Indonesian government to grant our request and hopefully for closer ties between Indonesia and the Philippines. Also, when it comes to the West Philippine Sea.
And how they're able to handle China much better than we have.
managed to get their oil.
Well, it is New Year. Not only is Panay Island struggling with its power, but there are new power rate hikes, at least for customers of Meralco. Is this going to be a problem with the looming El Niño? Shaila Francisco has the report.
Electric fan or air conditioning turned on. This is the usual routine for Luz Viminda. These appliances are a big help for someone like her who has asthma. She's now concerned about the higher power rates Meralco will be imposing this month.
Ramdam na namin kahit konting taas, ramdam na namin sa panahon ngayon, di ba ang hangyap ng buhay ngayon. Huwag magtuloy-tuloy yung taas ng sinilang Meralco kasi kawawa naman yung tulad namin. Ang nagtatrabaho lang, isa lang, hindi pwedeng paypay. Minsan sa gabi, pag walang aircon, nahihirapan akong hina.
Meralco will be hiking rates by 8 centavos per kilowatt hour this January. This is equivalent to a 17 peso increase in power bills for households consuming 500 kilowatt hours. Expect to shell out an additional 39 pesos. The power distributor said this is because of higher generation charge or the cost of producing electricity in power plants. There's also reduced supply due to scheduled maintenance shutdowns.
Prices affected ng supply-demand situation. Nagkataon na yung supply last December, medyo naging constrained dahil maraming power plants that went on outage. So meron kasing pag-uutos yung Department of Energy na bawal magkaroon ng maintenance outage during the summer season. Kasi nga kailangan natin ng capacity during summer season. So usually the maintenance schedules will happen during the cooler months. Yun namang outage na yun, paghahanda naman for summer.
But with the looming El Niño, there could be more rate hikes ahead.
Pagpasok ng summer months, usually yan nagkikik in March, tapos magtatapos bandang July, no? So yan yung panahon ng tag-init. Dalawa titingnan nating factors dyan, no? Yung pressure for prices to go up because demand will go up, and consumption.
Meralco said they are preparing to ensure ample power supply for the dry spell. They're looking to bring on board additional suppliers. They're also ready to implement a backup program that will tap on generator sets of big facilities like malls and factories to augment supply for residential users. For now, Meralco is urging qualified customers to make use of their Lifeline rate program in order to avail discounts on their monthly power bills. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
All right, pausing for another break right after that. Amid his current stint in the Philippines for Strong Group, former NBA star Dwight Howard has expressed his interest in playing in the PBA. The details on that when the big story returns. Keep it here. And you're still watching the big story here on One News.
Punta muna tayo sa mundo ng sports. Former NBA big man Dwight Howard is hoping to one day play in the PBA. Howard is currently in the country after being called up by Strong Group Athletics to represent the Philippines for the upcoming Dubai International Tournament. Now, speaking to the media earlier today, Howard acknowledged the prospect of him playing in the PBA one day as an import. However, standing in the way of his potential entry is the league's height requirement, capped at 6'9". Still, however, Howard claims to be within the height limit but hopes that the PBA will reconsider its policy to pave the way for more high-caliber imports to join the league.
I'm eligible for the PBA, so I think they got to change the height requirements because I'm 6'9" without shoes. And with shoes, it adds a little inch.
Meanwhile, 3 overseas-based Filipino teenagers are set to represent the country in the upcoming Winter Youth Olympic Games in Gangwon, South Korea. 16-year-old Peter Grosclose was the first to qualify in the short track speed skating event. He joined fellow 16-year-old Avery Balbanida in a cross-country skiing tournament. 14-year-old Leitas Amihan Rabe rounded up the Filipino participants in freestyle skiing. The delegation will leave for Korea on the 3rd week of January with several key Philippine Olympic Committee officials headed by its president, Bambol Tolentino. Okay, so para sa mga nagtataka kung bakit nga ba si Dwight Howard naglalaro para sa Pilipinas. So nag-research ako ng konti. Si Dwight kasi nilet go siya ng LA Lakers noong 2022. Hindi siya ni-resign. So nag-aantay siya ng PBA tuloy, ng NBA team to sign him.
So wala now.
So
in the meantime, racket muna.
Pumunta siya sa Taiwan
Pero
to
hindi siya
play.
retired.
Dito siya playing for us. Hindi pa siya retired. Sabi niya, ang goal niya, I'm 38 today. noong December 8, 2023.
Kaya pa.
I thought about it. I'm not retiring before I have the chance to say I played in an in-season tournament game. So, he's still hoping that an NBA team will pick him up. Yun nga lang,
Nagparinig na no?
medyo nagbago na kasi yung style of play sa NBA. Ibig sabihin, yung mga centers before, hindi na nag-work ngayon. They need more versatility in terms of the center position because it's become a faster game. Kailangan takbo ka ng takbo.
Dati yung
Lalo
mga
sa
center
Golden
nakatayo
State,
lang dun sa
yun.
gitna
So medyo,
dati.
medyo umina na, hindi na siya
He's a
ganun
big guy.
ka-explosive. He's 38, but he was the cornerstone of the Orlando Magic.
I
Can
would
you
say we would
imagine?
like him here, di ba?
Can you
If he
imagine
wants to
if
be with
Dwight
us.
Howard came to play for the PBA?
Nako,
How amazing would that be?
Exactly. So
Height
please
limit dapat
consider.
maayos na natin yan.
Hindi, pero actually,
Iko-consider
sobrang,
ba niya yung sweldo?
sobrang okay rin nung sobrang okay din nung league sa Taiwan now. So, Jeremy
Talaga
Lin's
ba?
making that big push. Yeah, so I was just there over Christmas and grabe talaga yung even my husband watched the game kasi nandun daw si Jeremy Lin and parang they've been really focusing on their professional league and ang daming nanonood. Ang saya-saya daw.
It's
May
been
basketball
so
culture
dynamic
din sila.
already. Korea, Japan, Taiwan, just all over
May
Southeast
hirapan na tayo
Asia.
sa FIBA moving
Oh
forward.
no, hindi na tayo yung crown.
Alright, before we go, oras na para sa ating big picture tonight. This one is for all my fellow history geeks out there. The NHCP, or National Historical Commission of the Philippines, has launched this facsimile of the original manuscript of Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere. That's right, Rizal's own handwriting. So facsimile meaning parang kopya talaga siya, para siyang Xerox copy. Kasama dyan ang edits ni Jose Rizal, ang kanyang corrections, deletions, as submitted to his typesetters on March of 1887. The book is now available and sells for 2,450 pesos. Ang mahal. Interested buyers with budget.
PDF copy na lang.
Ayan, they can contact the NHCP's property section on weekdays via email or landline. Grabe, email or landline talaga.
I guess the proceeds will go
I find
naman
it
to
amazing.
conservation.
I feel like this is a good time for Philippine history to make its I'm not
Resurgence,
sure.
renaissance.
Yeah, because of the MMFF and the response to
Which
that.
is extended
it's been
pala.
very encouraging.
Yeah, because
we
they
can still
earned
watch.
more than $1 billion.
I know, but I still need to watch the other films.
So what are you
excited?
I've always thought that film is one of the
Malyari.
more effective ways of
Scary
promoting
daw.
history. Kasi tayo mga Pilipino, medyo makalimutin tayo sa ating history, di ba? So, pero pag napanood mo sa pelikula, maalala mo at mabilis ma-communicate. So hopefully we see more of Gomburza.
Parang easy
films
to
like that.
digest kasi kung pelikula, tas
Tama.
masaya pa, tas kung yung artista pa, pogi, tsaka type mo, di ba? Or favorite artista mo.
For the
Cedric Juan, Fiona Pascual.
Yeah, pero okay din tong libro because some people like to read, yung mga old school dyan.
Parang coffee table book siya to always remind you of Jose Rizal's work.
All right, we have run out of time. That's it for the big story tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.